top of the morning class. Today we're going to go through a couple little things. In each of your package, you're going to get a wedge of clay. It's about the size of a softball. It'll be in the envelope, in the Ziploc bag. It should be good to go. I tested it out. It sat in there for about a week. I did a test for that to make sure that it stayed. So if you don't get to this project in a week, it's still going to be this consistency. Unless you open it up and leave the bag open, it's going to dry out. And you're going to have to put water back in it, reconstitute it, let it sit for a while. So keep your Ziploc baggie zipped. Put a little paper towel in there that's wet, and that'll kind of keep it nice and moist too. Okay, so today we're doing a cool little project. You're finally getting your clay like I promised you. All right, a few of the tools that we're working with, all right, are a knife. So this can be, if you're at home, this could be a butter knife. The other thing, I know it's a brush, but you could also use a toothbrush, a fork. So these are common household items that you could use. But the one thing that I use, this is called a scoring tool, and I'll show you a little bit what that's for. And a little cup of water, and if you have a sponge around that's about this size or smaller, that's always really cool to use. So we have all this stuff for you. One of the first things you want to do is get your cup of water, and you just want to take a little piece of clay and drop a little clay in there like that. Let it sit for about 5 minutes, and you'll get this little like paste looking material. All right, that's called slip. All right, and that's what attaches everything together. So whenever you're putting two pieces of clay together, you're always going to slip and score it. I say this again. Whenever you put two pieces of clay together that aren't already together, you need to slip and score it. Why? Because if you just kind of lay it on here like this, all right, it'll fall off. All right, especially if we go to fire it. There's no bonding, there's no adhesion, there's no texture in order to hold the two pieces together. Okay, so I'll go into that a little bit, and I'll explain to you the slipping and scoring. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put your little slab or puck of clay into a ball-shaped form. All right, I want to take a little bit off of it so I can work on my piggy bank side, but I just want to show you how to do the pinch pot side of things in order to end up creating your piggy bank, which is part of your project. Okay, so what took a little bit off to the side, maybe I'll take a little bit more. So you should have about a baseball size. So you have a little bit here. These will be for my legs, ears, nose, and stuff like that. And then put that off to the side, and then I will make a nice little ball. So everybody knows how to, hopefully you played with Play-Doh before, and everybody knows how to make a little ball with this. I'll put my tools up off to the side. I can even keep them in the water here like this. All right. So this is a canvas area. If you don't have a canvas area, a piece of cardboard will work just fine on your living room table or wherever you're working your clay at, because it gets it's muddy. All right, clay is muddy, and that's exactly what you're working with. So got a little bit of clay here. We wedged it out. This is pre-wedged clay, so all the air bubbles are taken out of it for you. Did a little work for you ahead of time, so don't worry about it. Make your ball, a nice little round ball. You're gonna take your knife, put a little water on the edge right here like this, so it's like a butter, cuts right through, and I'm just gonna go like this, boom. All right, cut it into 2 halves. All right, now I'm just gonna show you how to do one, and then I'm gonna make the other one, kind of speed it up a little bit, and then I'm gonna show you how to put it together through a slip and score, so you have like a hollowed out, it's gonna be about the size of a softball. All right, so we go from baseball to softball size. So check it out, here we go. I'm gonna just put my thumb right here in the middle, make a hole like that, and I'm just gonna slowly pinch until I get all those edges to a 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch is about as thick as your finger. all right? Or maybe a little thinner, but 1/4 inch is definitely thinner than. So I'm going to use, I can use both my thumbs like this. All right, there we go. I'm just going to keep going, just like that. All right, so now if my edges start to get a little pointy like that, what I'm going to do is flip it over. All right, I'll kind of flatten it out a little bit, which I want to do anyway because we want to attach these two pieces together. All right, so I'll speed it up a little bit here, and you'll see what I do with the other ones. So there we go. We have our, there we go. We have our two pieces. All right, roughly the same size. You want them to be the same circumference. All right, so that when we go to put them together, boom, they're like that. Okay, and that's what we're gonna. So we could just put them together like this, and then we're done. No, what we're gonna do is a process called slipping and scoring. And what we do is we flatten down these edges a little bit, like that. And then I could take my fork, or I could take my toothbrush, or I could take my scoring tool. I'll show you what it is with the toothbrush. So scoring is kind of like this. I'm just roughing up those edges so that the two textures will kind of go together like this. So if you have two things that go together, they need something to grab onto. So that's what that texture is for, in order for it to grab onto. Cool. All right, look at that. All right, so I got this good texture around here like this. And the next thing I'm gonna do is grab me a little bit of this slip, and I'm just going to, there you go, just around like that. Now if I don't think that scoring's good enough, I could rough it up a little more. All right, so I could use a fork, and that'll really get it to kind of adhere together, hold together. Okay, it's okay if you mess up your edges because we're going to fuse them both together anyway, and it's going to make a nice seal. Okay, cool. So we're going to take this, put it together like that. All right, and there we go. Now I just start to squeeze my little edges together. I can also use my knife. I could kind of butter it together too. So I'm just smoothing it like that. All right, so now we can take our sponge, or you could use a paper towel, and we're just going to smooth that all out. Okay, just like that. Don't get it too wet. Too wet, it's going to turn into a ball of goo. You got to get that nice, gentle medium. And this is kind of your first project working with this, so you get to learn exactly how to work with the clay. Okay, so look at that. We got a nice softball shape. Well, maybe it's a little bit smaller than a softball. All right, and you could round it up, and there you go. See, it's nice, and it'll kind of poke a little bit through there like that. Just rough it back together, and there you go. Now we're going to use our other clay, and we can make things like we can do whatever we want. We can make eyeballs, we can make a little nose like this, little pig nose. There we go, and we could kind of put it like that. However you want to do that, this is your piggy bank. So the one thing that you have to remember to do, don't put your slot on the seam, all right? Try to put your slot like up here, all right? If you mess up, don't worry about it. take your scoring tool, fork, brush, whatever, and just erase your mistake. Just like that, okay? Like, oh, I didn't want to put it there. If you want to put a hole on the bottom for like a little cork or something, so you could pull it out, you could do that. So this is just the starting portion. I wanted to get you to this point right here with your, one last thing, whenever you go to put your items on, like the eyes or the ears or things like that, you want to do the same thing. You want to take a little bit of that, slip, score the part, okay, and then put it on there. And see how it sticks on there nicely? It has that nice seal that's going in there like that. That's what you really want to look for, okay. I'm going to try to work a little magic with this. We'll see how it turns out here in a sec. So there you have it. All right. And then what I do is I put a little slot right back there in the back. And then all these little marks I could just kind of touch up with my sponge or my finger to kind of smooth them out. And you can make this as detailed or as simple as you want. If you want to add whiskers, anything like really small, like if you're going for this like really small things like this, these will break real easy, so they'll be careful. Make them really thick. See how everything's kind of really thick? When you get into class, what we're going to do is then we'll get into this really small stuff, okay? Because it won't be as fragile for movement. All right, so what you want to do with this, take this, dry it out for about 2 or 3 days. All right, let it sit somewhere where nobody will mess with it. If you got little brothers or sisters or little cousins or something, make sure they don't mess with it because it's super fragile right now. It's called in a greenware state. All right, you want it to get to be bone dry. Once it gets to be bone dry, put it in your oven. Knocked over my mic. Put it in your oven. All right, make sure you put that slot in the top. All right, just like that. Coin slot. And what that is going to do is that's going to allow all that moisture inside to also dry out and escape. Okay. And this will be a piggy bank that you can, I don't know, keep your stuff in. It doesn't have to be a pig. You can make an elf. You can make a lizard. You can do whatever you want. I want you to have that imagination and that freedom to go out there and make whatever type of piece of art you can make. So this is your challenge for you this week. I hope you enjoy working with a little bit of clay. I promised you that we get muddy this week and this next period. we're going to be doing more and more of this, and hopefully we can get everybody back in the classroom one at a time, or at least a few of you in here to do different projects and things like that. If you want to, schedule some appointments after the break or whatever, how long we have to wait, and we'll do one-on-ones if you need to get in here and work. Remember, keep your clay in a Ziploc baggie closed if you're not working with it, okay? Even putting like a wet napkin in there with it will help it keep moist too, all right? So that's our project going in the next week. There's other films, and I'm gonna actually attach a few other links to YouTube channels and things like that of other people, what they built. I gave you some examples of some really cool piggy bank ideas. Hopefully that gets you moving in the right direction, and we'll get back to the way life is supposed to be. It's normal in school and having fun with art together, not online. It's okay, but I like you guys hanging out here getting muddy, playing in the clay. So have a good week, be good to each other, all right? And remember, art is life, and life is art.